What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I am back to talk about Warhammer 40K, The End Times. So about a week ago, I did a theory video on what I believed the end times of Warhammer 40K will be and what will become of Warhammer 50K. So if you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I'll link it at the end of the video. It did really good. So I decided to continue the series explaining my thoughts behind why certain factions did the things they did, whether they prospered or failed miserably, and just wanted to explain it just a little bit more. So with that being said, let's dive into this video. So we're going to be starting off with what happened to the factions of the Imperium, beginning with the Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard. So the Emperor ended up dying. The Golden Throne failed, and the Emperor could no longer sustain his life, and he perished. With the Emperor's death, so too did the Astronomicon fall. So without that guiding post for warp travel, humanity was severely crippled. Warp travel was used to get things from point A to point B in a matter of, I guess, seconds, depending on where they're going to. So really, faster than light travel is pivotal, especially if you're traveling in a freaking galaxy. The Astra Militarum was kind of stationed in various key points in the galaxy, or at least Imperial controlled space, so that if anything did happen to these planets, the Astra Militarum could get there hopefully in time. So because of this, the Imperium was forcing its generals to basically do the same amount of work and damage and repairs and whatever they needed to do, but with far fewer men, because it's just impossible to move that much army strength in a point-to-point basis. So because of that, the Astra Militarum was stretched far too wide, far too thin. Rations were being overused. It is just crazy how much you have to think about, like the fuel, the living space, the food. What it takes to actually feed and keep an army going is astronomical, especially if what used to take, say, a week to get from point A to B, now it's taking years, and you just need that much more manpower, that much more food to keep your armies going. And because of this, so many regiments, they said, I'm done, and they ended up deserting the Imperium, or at least the Astra Militarum. So because of this, the Guard fell horribly. The whole regiments just quit. Yes, the commissars did try to keep them in line by shooting and just trying to do scare tactics and anything they could to keep the High Lords and the Inquisition from retribution. But that's not enough, because all these people were also in the same boat. So that's what led to tons of human civilizations to just fall and crumble because help wouldn't arrive. Say there's a catastrophic meltdown at a Ministorum building or something like that. If the world itself couldn't provide the aid necessary, then that's it. There's nothing they can do. They can pray, they can try and will something to happen, but chances are it's not gonna work. So because of that, the Astra Militarum, human civilization in general, was dying, just having a bad time. And because of this, certain High Lords needed their factions, their worlds to prosper, and this led to them allying with some not so nice chaos gods. So a lot of worlds became demon planets. A lot of worlds prospered by becoming cultists or demon hosts. But at the same time, the High Lords came out on top sometimes, but the human population was obliterated. So many worlds fell because of this. Other High Lords decided to ally with Xenos, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't. But at the end of the day, the Inquisition caught wind of all these High Lords trying to do whatever means necessary to prosper, and that led to a lot of assassins being sent out to take out these High Lords to kind of quell the masses and kind of stop all these revolts from happening. because a schism was forming. The Imperium didn't have the means necessary to keep humanity in check. Because, yeah, even though the Emperor died, it like the news of it spread like wildfire. It almost seemed like chaos or something behind the scenes was giving this news to the populace. Humankind needed a means of hope, and some of them, again, kept to the Imperial creed, kept praying to the Emperor as a god, and held on to their faith. And that's where the ecclesiarchy made the decision to claim that the Emperor had whispered to them truths of what was going on, and that all these revolts, all these other worlds that were claiming to leave the Imperial creed, leave the Imperium as a whole, that they were just cultists and that they were corrupted. So shrine worlds really became a beacon for a lot of pilgrims at this time. All these regiments of Imperial guardsmen who had deserted made pilgrimages to these shrine worlds to basically say, hey, the Emperor had protected me for all this time. He's the reason why I'm still alive. He's the reason why I'm not just throwing my life away, serving for this commissar who would kill me without even a second thought. So shrine worlds really became a beacon of hope within the Imperium. And because of that, a lot of death occurred. Certain shrine worlds were used as a means of cultivating human lives. A high lord of a shrine world would pledge himself to chaos, have people come by the dozens, hundreds, billions to his world, depending on where it was located, and they could use all these humans' life as a sacrifice to their gods, be it through disease with Nurgle, war with Khorne, decadence and lust cults with Slaanesh, etc. So it was not a good time for humanity. And that's when the Sisters of Battle decided to step up. Some of them decided to, protect these shrine worlds as the last beacon of hope. Others, not so much. When the Emperor died, the miracles that he had gifted to the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, were also gone. And with that, certain sisters lost their faith in the God Emperor. Seeing as that he's not omnipotent. If he was, then they wouldn't have lost their miracles. And so many Sisters of Battle actually succumbed to the whispers of the dark gods and became agents of chaos. So during this time, it was really a huge boon for chaos, because with the death of the Emperor, many worlds, many people in power decided to go from one god, Emperor, or one god, the Emperor, to many other gods, the Chaos gods. And because of this, chaos really did prosper. So we could see that the Imperium was just, they had their plates full already with the Tyranids, the Orcs, other Xenos, and then you had chaos, and now with the death of the Emperor, that was kind of the tipping point. So after the Emperor's death, humanity just basically tried to hang on by the skin of their teeth. Like, they were crawling, they were gasping for air, doing anything and everything they could to survive. And that's when the Space Marines, who at this time were autonomous, they were also, well, some of them decided to keep their vow to the Emperor and protect humanity. Others just said, you know what, fuck it, we're going renegade. We'll provide for ourselves, we'll fight for ourselves, we'll take a sector of a space for ourselves. And that led to a lot of Marine versus Marine wars. Ultramar stayed true to the Emperor, and they were another beacon of hope for humanity, knowing that, hey, the closer we get to Ultramar, the more protected we'll be. So with that being said, the Minotaurs and a certain High Lord allied together, and they took control of space. Certain Space Marine chapters went into the warp to try and reclaim the Emperor's soul from the Dark Gods. At least that was their belief. Other Space Marine chapters were too busy fighting off the Necrons, the Orcs, the Tyranids, the Eldar, to even have time to think about what's going on with the rest of the galaxy. They're over here just trying to, to slaughter in the name of the Emperor. So a lot of things happened, but probably the most notable that happened for the Space Marines was a major battle between the Blood Angels and Abaddon the Despoiler and his Chaos forces. So Abaddon came to Baal to basically claim it as one of his demon worlds. He brought Kabanda. It wasn't I guess you couldn't say it was another crusade of his, like the 14th Great Crusade, but it was akin to it on a much smaller scale. However, with the aid of the Sanguinor, the Primaris Marines, and a few other Imperial factions, Baal survived, but at a great cost. The battle ended when Abaddon was killed by Dante, who gave in to the Black Rage and beheaded Abaddon with his own demon blade, Dracnian. So, with Abaddon the Despoiler dead, his soul taken up by the sword, the forces of chaos retreated, the Sanguinor bested Kabanda, and with no other choice, blood was spilled as Astaroth the Grim had to bring down his axe on his chapter master. So now, with the death of Dante, the Imperium had no leader to rule the Imperium Secundus, because as we all know, Guilliman was the overall commander of the Imperial army, but Dante was number 2. But in the death of this great ancient champion, somebody awoke. Deep within the core of the rock, Lionel Johnson awoke and made his way over to Ultramar, and he basically said, hey, I'm back. I've got my angels. We are still going to be hunting the fallen, but I know that the Imperium is in disarray. Allow me to be another general in the Emperor's army. And at that point, that's when the Imperium kind of had like a second, I guess you can say a second wind of sorts, having another Primarch kind of aid them during this dark time. And that's pretty much what's going on with the Imperium just before the 666th day where the Emperor came back to life and the forces of chaos made their way to Terra. So again, guys, thank you for listening. That's kind of my interpretation. I know there's a lot of gaps that still need to be covered, but I'll cover at least the Eldar portion of it, the Tau portion of it, and I think I'll talk about like the Necrons, the Tyranid, and the Orcs all in one video. I also already did talk about the Emperor's Apotheosis, the new Army of the Light, with like the demons of the Emperor coming back to aid the Imperium. Quote-unquote demons, but essentially they're the saints and the angels. They're the lesser and the greater demons, chaos version of the Army of the Light. So go ahead and check out the death of Warhammer 40K so you guys can know the theory that I've talked about. And let me know your thoughts. Does this make sense? Would you like it if this is what happened in the future of 40K? And if not, let me know how you want 40K to continue. Because after 8th edition, we really have gotten a huge jump in the timeline of 40K. So eventually 50K will get here, and we'll see, for better or for worse, what it is. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and as always, you can help support the channel by going to Patreon. And again, thank you. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll be catching you guys in the next one. Peace.